Hello, Mindsetters, grade 12s. It is your chance now. Business studies. My name is Abraham, and I'm not alone. I'm with Tanya. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, and you?
I'm super chilled.
I'm good.
Ready to learn a lot.
Oh, you good
Yeah.
stuff. We're gonna do something interesting today. We're gonna look at teamwork, and I might pick on you a little bit later during the show.
No problem. Teamwork. So it is about teamwork today. So team Mindsetters, be ready because it's all about teamwork. Go
There
take
you
your
go.
position and
Awesome.
let's learn.
Thank you.
Right, Mindsetters, let me tell you about how you can be part of our show and be our team Mindsetter. Go over Facebook. Our Facebook page is simple, facebook.com/Learn Extra. You can also follow us, Team Follow Back, at Learn Extra. Lastly, you can download your notes on our website, which is learnextra.co.za/live. We love learning from you. And remember, this show is proudly sponsored by Macmillan. So get those notes. We'll be having the fast link also on the website, on the Facebook page. So make sure that you download them right now. So teamwork, let's do it. Tanya?
Awesome. So, guys, today we're gonna be looking at teamwork. We're gonna look at how teams are put together, why teams are put together, the effectiveness of teamwork, and then a little bit later on the show, we're also going to be looking at careers, career pathing, things like that. But the first part of our focus will be teamwork. So let's start with the first slide. So let's have a look. So teamwork. So what I've done for you is I've taken a definition of teamwork. You should all know about teamwork. The easiest way for you to have teamwork in your mind is to think about when you get projects at school, for example, and you have to work in a group of 4. And that's really the beginning of teamwork. Remember, at school, that's sort of you're made to work in a team. In a business situation, they put you together in a team to create the most effective possible outcome for the business. So let's have a look at this definition. So a team is a group of people who each contribute their individual knowledge and skills together to complete a given task. Next, in modern day businesses, teams have become an integral part of the daily operations. And lastly, large businesses realize the importance of teamwork and even spend time and money on team building experiences. So like I was saying, at school, you get put into a group to do group work. In a business situation, they put people together, and we'll look at it a little bit later on, but just to give you an idea, think about it, if you're working in a team, you have ideas, your friend has an idea, and you can all build on that idea. And not just that, when if you're doing the work and you're feeling a little bit like not motivated, your friend might have the energy to pick you up. Now, in a business situation, you can imagine if you're busy with an advertising campaign or trying to find a new product, something like that, how working as a team will really help the business. So let's have a look at characteristics of a successful team. So the first characteristic is they should have clearly defined and realistic goals and objectives, as well as all team members must have a common desire to accomplish their goal. So the first important thing there, the goals need to be realistic and they all need to have a common goal. In other words, realistic, if you have an advertising campaign that's really big, for example, you need a month to get to it. Okay, I'm just taking an idea here. Now, a realistic goal would be to do it in a month. If you make it a shorter period, it's going to be unrealistic and it would put too much pressure on that team. And it's also very important that you all have the same common goal so that you can all reach the same destination, really. And remember, the part with a business is that you all need to reach business goals. So let's have another look at another characteristic. Members should show respect for the knowledge and skills of the other members, as well as there should be good communication between the team members. Now, I'm not going to go through the rest of them. You can catch them on the website, the Learn Extra Notes. So what I want you to take away from the characteristics, that there should be communication, so you need to be able to speak to others in the group. Remember, you've done conflict resolution and conflict techniques before this, so you can also imagine in teamwork, we can ask you to take teamwork with the conflict resolution and put those two concepts together because you are working with people and conflict may arise. Now, let's have a look at the next slide on teamwork. The next slide, we're looking at reasons for the use of teams. Now, the reason for the use of teams, they're broken into. So I've broken them down into 6 for you. So the first reason that a business will use a team would be for synergy. Now, synergy is a way of looking at the end will be worth more. So the outcome of the group will be more than the sum of an individual. So in other words, a group working together will get more accomplished than one person doing it. That's the idea of synergy. So you're going to get more out of people. The second reason you got here is being creative, so creativity. So again, imagine being one person trying to work out a new idea or something different, and now take 4 people. So with being creative, you can build on each other's ideas and get the best possible creative outcome because you're working together. The third reason we have would be quality. So again, the quality will be higher because you're all pushing each other to give the best possible outcome, really. So it's about pushing each other to give the best. Another reason businesses will use teamwork would be for productivity. And again, productivity and quality will probably go hand in hand. Again, why? Because there are 4 of you. And actually, we can connect this with synergy as well. The productivity will increase because there are more of you and you can build on each other and improve what you're doing. A fifth reason would be motivation and involvement. I'm going to explain those two together. So what reasons would you want reasons to build a team? Motivation. So you can, if you're having a bad day, you can build each other up, as well as being involved. Now remember, if you're involved in making a decision, you're also more committed. And remember, if you're committed to an idea, you'll give more to it. So those are the reasons why a business would want a team or teams to work together. Now, let's have a look in the next slide. Now, what I've done here for you, you'll see types of teams. Now, in business, you'll have different types of teams depending on the situation. Now, the first example, what I've got here for you, is a working team. Now, a working team would be, or these teams are also known as natural teams. So employees are permanent teams who work in the same department. So with a working team, you are part of the financial department, you're part of the working team in the financial department. It's the same 5 of you that have been working together there the whole year, and you work, so let's break it down. You're permanent, you work in the same department, and it's all getting to the same goal. So that's a working team. Another type of team you get would be a project team. Now, a project team would look at, these teams are also known as problem-solving or task teams. Now, they are temporary teams, and their goal is to solve a particular problem or work on a certain project. So with a project team, it literally gives itself away. The word gives it away. So these are temporary teams that get together to solve a common problem. So let's say your company wants to create a new product or expand on their product line. You're going to be part of a project team, and this project team will look specifically, for example, at creating a new product. Now, the difference between a working team and a project team would be, remember, a project team is a temporary thing where you're working towards a short-term goal. A working team would be the same group of people working together in the same department on a task. Now, you get another type of team, which is a cross-functional team. Now, a cross-functional team looks at the following. These teams are also known as process or focus teams. Now, they can be permanent or temporary, depending on the task at hand. Cross-functional teams are often used to implement changes in a business enterprise. So a cross-functional team, important, they can be temporary or they can be permanent, and they are put in place mostly for times of change in a business. So let's quickly recap. We've got working teams, project teams, and cross-functional teams. There's another type of team we can have a look at. This would be a problem-solving work team. A problem-solving work team, now these include employees from the same department who meet on a regular basis. They deal mainly with internal problems. Now, problem-solving work teams, again, grade 12s, these names give it away. So it's a problem-solving work team. So they are also permanent, but they focus mainly on problems, where a working team might focus on expanding a business or daily operations. Problem-solving focuses specifically on solving problems in the business at the time. And the last type of team, sorry, there's 2 more types of teams, 3. So the next one, self-managed working teams. Let's have a quick look at this. Now, these teams are these teams make and implement decisions and take responsibility for their decisions. So self-managed work teams are basically working independently, and they manage themselves, they take responsibility for the outcomes, and it's basically a team that works independently. Another type of team would be we've done cross-functional, I think. Let me just quickly check. Yes, we've done cross-functional. So these are the four. I'm got a little confused there, sorry about that. So the first one is working team. The second one is a project team. Cross-functional, which is 3, and problem solving 4, and the last one, self-managed. Now the types of teams, what's important grade 12s is that you know which ones are permanent, which ones are temporary, and what the functions are. And a lot of the time, like I said, the heading will tell you what type of a team it is and what's happening in there. Go to the next slide. Now the next slide, we're looking at careers. So I've gone through the types of teams quite fast, guys. Now the reason for that is teamwork. Really, you need to know what the characteristics of a good team is, what the types of teams are, and just be sure that you know exactly teams, what they're about, and you can also for yourself figure out what are the advantages of teamwork, which I've actually also discussed, so you can figure that out. But what I want you to think about, if those are the advantages, what are the disadvantages? Now, disadvantages of teamwork, for example, would be it's time consuming. So if you make a decision so you need to create a new product, for example. Now, there's 4 of you in the group, and obviously because you're working in a team, you can't just go ahead and make a decision on your own. So you will have to wait for 4 other people or 3 other people to come to the same conclusion as you. So working in a team could be time consuming, and with that, issues like frustration would come up. And again, I want to throw it in, you need to remember how to work with confrontation. And part of this, all of this comes back to successful teams as well, because if you're going to be working with others, you need to communicate, listen, as well as respect. So that's teamwork in a nutshell for you. We're going to come back to teamwork when we do some activities at the end, looking at exam questions. And I want to go to careers now. So let's have a look at careers. So with careers, this is an important part in grade 12, because obviously at the end of this year, you need to choose whether you're going to go work, if you're going to study, what you're going to do. And if you're going to study, obviously you need to start thinking about what you want to study. So let's have a look at the first point. So the first step in developing your career is to know yourself. And this is literally, you need to know what are your likes and dislikes. So if you sit there, as you're sitting at home now, think about what are your preferences. Would you like to sit behind a desk, a more quiet job, not being involved with people too much? Or would you like to be out there, seeing different things, doing different things every day? And these issues will obviously influence what you want to study, if you're going to study further or if you're going to work further. So that's the first part. You need to look at yourself and see what would appeal to you as an individual. The second part, to how do I choose a career? Now, many factors can impact on your life and your career choices. So with this point, what they're saying is, so growing up, think about when you were much younger, you wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, fireman, something strange out there. And now that you're a little bit older, you're a bit more focused about where you want to go. But besides that, there are other factors that influence you. It could be where you live, the school you're going to, or the actual community. And for example, if you live in a community that doesn't have a lot of medical health or healthcare facilities, you might grow up wanting to become a doctor, for example, because that's what your community needs. Another point to careers would be your, like I said to you before, your immediate surroundings can also influence your life and career choices. The next part, following on to that, socioeconomic conditions such as poverty, lack of transport, lack of educational institutions in an area can create obstacles for learners who want to pursue certain career opportunities. Now, with this point, remember what are socioeconomic issues? If you think about it off the top of your head, housing, healthcare, poverty, standards of living, things like that. So, socioeconomic issues might impact on whether you can study or not. So if you think about just simply financial implications. So if you grew up in a poor area, your parents are perhaps not earning a lot of money, it might be difficult for you to study unless you get a bursary, for example. Now, if you want to become a doctor, you have to go to university, for example. And if your parents can't afford to send you or you don't get a bursary, obviously that will now affect whether you're going to study to become a doctor or not. So that's one part. Simple issues like transport. Can you get to your school, for example, every day to learn what you need to learn? Let's have a look at another point on careers. So how to choose your career. Now, most people therefore choose their careers based on their self-image, socio-economic background, desired income, beliefs, values, interests, and abilities. So there's quite a lot of things happening there. So the first point there would be self-image. So how do you see yourself? If you have low self-esteem, for example, you might feel that you're not suitable for a job that's very extroverted, for example. Also, if you've got low self-esteem, you might not think that you're good enough to become a doctor. And for those of you, I'm just using that example, I think all of you should be exactly what you want to be, because that's, you should follow your dreams. So first point there, your self-image. Another point would be, like we discussed, socioeconomic issues. And another point here would be desired income. So are you following a career because you want to make a lot of money, or are you following a career because you want to make a difference, for example? So your chosen career will influence, obviously, how much money you make, and perhaps, if you want to do it the other way around, how much money you want to make will influence what career you choose, for example. So before I go into the next part, I'm going to hand it over, and I'll get back to you after the break.
Oh yes, before we take that break, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Most people normally say that I can't work in a team, I'm not meant to work on a team. So I just want to ask you this. I've posted it on our Facebook page. Do you prefer working on a team or individually?
Personally?
Yes.
I personally prefer working individually.
Okay. You'll give me answers, and mindsetters, you'll give me your answers also straight after the break. So, teamwork, let's do this after the break. Welcome back, mindsetters. Now, before the break, I asked Tanya about preferring to work on a team or individually, and she said she prefers working individually. Before I take your comments, let me ask her why.
Okay, so I thought about this, right?
Okay.
I like working individually because I have my own personal goals. But I want to add, though, there's definite benefits in working in a team, because if there's 4 of me doing the same thing, it will obviously get a greater outcome. So there's benefits in teamwork, but I also think there's benefits in individuals. What do you prefer?
I prefer working individually too.
Okay.
But I love teamwork, supporting teamwork, because I always have we always have, different personalities, different strengths in teamwork, and people contribute differently. So when it comes to teamwork, you can save time and waste time at the same time. So the reason why I don't like teamwork is because they can be a waste of time.
That's fair. And
Yeah.
that's also actually one of our disadvantages that we mentioned, because
Yes.
people can waste time.
Let's hear the mindsetters.
Okay.
Right, we have Walter Poncho saying individual, and Lindy with team for sure. Team, I like sharing ideas. That is Nompi, so I prefer teamwork. And Sipo says individual, but teamwork-ish. Both have advantages and disadvantages. Well said.
Okay, well, there we go. See,
So it
also
goes with the
split.
personality, of course.
I think that makes a very good point. Some people, I think, are made to work in a team, and other people are probably best not to work in a team.
But at times, it's not about you being meant to work on a team or individually. You are forced to, because certain jobs or careers require you to work as a team.
That's very true, and that really is a reality. And that is, if you're put in a business situation where you have to work in a team, whether you like to or not, my mindset is you have to do it. Okay.
Like us.
So, exactly.
We have to work together, whether we like it or not.
Oh, come on, we like it. Why not?
We like it, of course.
So, mindset is now we've got you thinking. Thank you for the comments. It's really nice that you guys are getting involved. Give us your ideas. And if you're going to tell us why you prefer team or individual, don't just say team or individual. Give us your opinion. Give us an advantage, disadvantage, maybe an experience you've had. Get involved with us.
Someone has just said that right now. Can I just take it quickly?
Yes.
Silo Arthur says, if I say time comes in as an advantage and disadvantage on the team, will I be wrong? I'm saying this because there might be a lot of work to do, and the team members help each other to do what that in a short of time. Then if there was one candidate, it could have been a waste of time. So will I be wrong if I say that time comes in as an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time?
That's perfect, and that's a really good answer, because it will be an advantage and a disadvantage, wasting or using time. But I want you to also keep in mind, grade 12s, I don't want you to just focus on the disadvantages. I want you to look at the advantages, but also look at why businesses want teams. You want to create teams. Remember, that's the very first thing I looked at. It's synergy, it's creativity, it's motivation, it's all those things put together. Before we carry on with teamwork, I want to inspire the grade 12s with their careers. Remember, end of this year, lots of big choices. And if you haven't made a choice now, maybe this is a good way to go. So before the break, we had a look at a couple of things to keep in mind when choosing a career. And I've got a couple of steps for you that we can follow. So let's have a look. So the first step, and remember, we are looking at careers. The first part here in choosing a career would be step 1. Now, step 1, we'll look at career assessment. Now, with career assessment, grade 12s, you're literally going to go out there and look at what careers are available. Now, what I mean with what careers are available, it's things that might have been in fashion. It sounds a very funny way of saying this, but careers that were in fashion, there are careers that come in and go out of fashion. So you need to literally look at what careers are available at the moment, not necessarily the careers that are in fashion, but careers that are viable in South Africa, for example, or if you're looking of going overseas, for example, you need to see what careers are available over there, or if you're going to study and go over there, you need to make sure that you have the correct qualifications, for example, to have the career that you're looking for. Now, the second step to choosing a career would be self-knowledge. Now, self-knowledge, as I said earlier, you need to look at, am I an introvert, am I an extrovert, do I want to sit behind a desk, do I want to be out there? Now, besides personality traits that are very important, you also need to be realistic when looking at job opportunities and possible careers. An example is the subjects you have chosen. So if you're doing maths, accounting, science, etc., those will open certain career paths for you. If you choose other subjects, those will also send you in a different direction. So depending on the subjects you have now, it will influence what you can study. So the thing with a career path or choosing a career, it actually starts way back in grade 9 when you choose your subjects, because that is going to lead you into where you need to go. The third step in choosing a career would be researching career choices. Now, that obviously goes it goes hand in hand with that. So what do I need if I want to become a lawyer, for example? What subjects do I need to do at school? What averages do I need to achieve? And obviously working towards getting the averages that you need to go study what you want to study. So that's one way of researching it as well. And also, for example, if you study law, eventually you don't just become a lawyer. There are different types of lawyers, and obviously as you go into it, you need to decide in which field of law you want to specialize in. And again, that would be researching what works for you. The fourth step would be career trends, and I mentioned this earlier. So which careers at the moment are in demand? Now, the reason I'm saying this is that certain careers, as I said earlier, some careers are fashionable, but it's not just the fashionable thing. For example, technology is changing rapidly at the moment. So perhaps a job in a technological computer, something in that field, would be something for you. But then what you have to keep in mind is, because technology changes so often and so fast, this is the type of career that you're not going to just study and then you're done. You will probably have to carry on studying as you progress. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind when researching your career. How much more studying do I need to do? Let's have a look at step 5. Step 5, we look at attending career exhibitions. So if you're not entirely sure what you want to study, or if you're in mind if you're trying to decide between 2 or 3 different things, it's a good idea to go to a career expo where you can see what the different careers involve, perhaps what subjects. You can speak to people that are in the career and perhaps get a really good idea of what's happening. A lot of schools also provide days at school where they show you where different universities, for example, come and give you information on the university, but also give you a chance to look at different careers and what you need to study to get there. And the last step to choosing your career would be examine your options. So now what you've done is you've looked at, let's choose a couple of examples. So you really enjoy biology, science, things like that. So you were thinking perhaps of becoming a pharmacist or a doctor or something like that, but you're not entirely sure. So by going through all those steps, looking at your requirements, going to an expo, speaking to experts, it'll probably give you a really good idea of where you want to go. And also remember, it's very important, different universities will have, not all universities will necessarily have the degree you're looking for, so you might have to look around at different universities as well to further your career in where you want to study. So I want to go to the next slide. Let's have a look. So what I have here with your career. Now we've discussed earlier options or issues like socioeconomic background, the area you grew up in, even something as simple as transport will influence your career. Now I'm assuming from this table that you've finished matric, you might have studied, might not have studied, but you've chosen a career. Now before you take the job or choose a specific career, you need to make sure that you ask yourself some questions. And these questions are vital, grade 12s, and obviously also very important for your exams coming up. So let's look at the different questions. So the first question you need to ask yourself would be, what are the financial implications of this career? So how much will I earn from my chosen career? Now, we all know different careers have different salaries, really, at the end of the day. And again, this comes down to, do you want to make a lot of money, or do you want to be more involved with community work, etc.? Now, again, this will influence how much money you're making. So before you go into a career, you need to look at what are the financial implications. Do I want to make a lot of money? Do I not want to make a lot of money? What do I want to do, and how much am I willing to be remunerated? The second question you need to ask yourself is security. Now, with security, this issue looks at, will I be able to find a job for my chosen career, and how easily am I replaceable? Now, job security literally means if I choose to go study something a little bit out there, maybe not the norm, what are my job opportunities if I go and study? I'm going to be very careful and not pick a career and go with that, but you need to be sure that whatever you're studying for, whatever career you've chosen, there are actual jobs out there, and not just jobs out there, how easily can they replace you in that position where you are? The third question you can ask yourself...
Tanya, before you move to the third question, on the financial implications, should we motivate people that they should go to careers because of money? Because our first question is about how much are you going to earn on your career?
No, honestly, I think
that
it's
be
a
a motivating factor?
No, I don't think it's the reality. If we speak like this, it perhaps doesn't sound very nice, but the reality is, when you're sitting there at the end of the day, some people are motivated by it. So I'm not saying it's the only motivation, but I think it is a motivating factor. Maybe mindset is, you can also give your opinion on that.
All right.
Okay, so let's give it a bash. Let's see what they say.
Okay.
Okay, the third, like we said, is the risk factor. So we've had financial, we're looking at risk now. Sorry, we've had security, now we're looking at risk. So what are the risks attached to this career? Example, medical professions and HIV/AIDS, the police force, and chances of losing your life or your life being in danger. So again, you need to look at, if you want to go with a certain career, the example we've used here as being a doctor, there are health risks associated to being a doctor, and are you willing to take those risks? Next question you should ask yourself would be, does this go or follow my morals and my values? So does this follow my ethical background? So issues like honesty, bribery, abuse of work time, etc. will come into play. So the job I choose one day, will it be in line with what my core beliefs are? Now remember, earlier this year we looked at business ethics, professionalism, things like that, and this again could come into play. So you'll look at your personal values and see if that is in line with the work you're getting into. Another question to ask yourself would be religion. Now religion comes into play in the sense that, will I be prepared to do work which might be against my religious beliefs? So if this is against your religious beliefs, it should be something that you might have to consider whether you want to do it or not. Another question to ask yourself would be family ties. Now, how will my chosen career, how will my chosen career impact my family life? So, do you already have a family? Are you planning to have a family? Or are you still living with your family? Now, your career will definitely have an impact on your family and your family dynamics. So, you need to make sure. So, if you're, for example, a young mother and you want to spend time with your newborn baby, for example, now you will have to choose a career where you've got more freedom or time, for example. So, you would have to, so if you, I think grade 12s get the idea. I'm not going to over-explain this. Another question to ask
But
yourself.
talking about family ties, I have another question to you.
Yes.
At times, some parents will choose for us certain careers. Do you think that is a wise decision for a parent to choose for their kid's career?
I can honestly tell you that I'm not going to get involved in that one.
Why not?
I think parents, I think honestly with choosing a career for you, I think parents have the best, they have their best intention. So it's coming from a good, I said it's coming from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my answer on that.
Okay. I'll leave it to the mindsetters, but I personally think that each and everyone should go after their own dreams and follow their own hearts, but not disregard what their parents are advising them, because it could be because of financial implications. You want to study law and your parents can only afford, to pay for maybe IT or something else. So we should also take the advice at the same time, but follow your heart. That's my...
I think that's important, but also I actually want to add on to that. Your parents have probably been around an extra 30 years longer than you. So they might have a bit of experience. But they don't know
some of these careers.
No,
that's the sad part, because we would want certain things and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, so again, mindsetters, I think I'm really encouraging you guys to give your opinions on these different things. So before the break, I quickly want to do 2 more with you guys.
Okay.
So relocation, and let's do research. So when choosing a career, you need to consider, will my chosen career mean locating to another area or city? So if I do this, will it mean, if I live in Joburg now, if I get this job, would it mean I have to move to Cape Town, for example? And the last one would be research. Now, what do I mean with research? With research, possible careers and study fields at tertiary institutions. So when looking at your career, you need to, as I told you before, look at universities. Where can you study your particular career choice or the field you want to go into? And I think that's all the career stuff for now.
More to come after the break. I really can't wait hearing the comments from the mindsetters. Mindsetters, go over the page. It is facebook.com/learnextra. Let's learn more. Learn Extra. See you after the break. Welcome back, guys. Now it's time for us to take your comments and hear what do you have to say. What do you have to say about the topic that we're talking about? Very interesting. We started talking about teamwork, and now we're on careers, and the page is just on fire. I asked you that when choosing a career, do you think money should or shouldn't be a motivating factor? There are some comments that I have. I'm sure Tanya would like to hear more from these comments.
Give me one.
All right.
We're going to do some work.
Okay, let me just give you one. Tisetso Reggie Vandal, it says, lol, money has to be. If it's not, then why not just volunteer?
Well, you know what mindset is? That there's validity in that. But also remember, again, and I should emphasize that sometimes when you're passionate about something, it actually doesn't matter how much money do you make. If it's important for you to help people, I don't think money will be an issue. That makes sense.
Though you need it, but it shouldn't be an issue at times. Following your passion.
Exactly, and actually, that's something I want to add to you for you guys today. Follow your passion. If you do what you love, it'll never feel like work. If that makes sense.
So true.
So what I want to do now, quickly, or not quickly, what I want to do for the rest of the lesson is an activity with you. But before I start the activity, I just want to show you 2 things that goes with career pathing, and it's called vertical career pathing and horizontal career pathing. So let's have a quick look. Vertical career, let's start with the first one. So horizontal career pathing looks at moving in a position on the same level so as to gain experience. So when you're working on a horizontal career path, you're not actually going up a level, you're simply moving through it. So for example, you work on the factory floor, and what you used to do is work the machinery. Now you've moved along in the same field, you still work on the factory floor, but instead of working on the machinery, you're fixing the machinery, for example. Then you get the second type, which is a vertical career path. And a vertical career path is really more what you look at when you're climbing the corporate ladder. So this is when you're jumping from one position to the next. So let's have a look. So a vertical career path looks at moving to a position on a higher level, which is also known, as I said, as climbing the corporate ladder. We're going to do an activity now, which will illustrate these two really, really nicely. So, as always, I want you to grab your highlighters. If you can, follow me. So, remember, why? Because we want to underline so that we always know where's all the important information. So, let's have a look at the first question. So, question 1 looks at from cleaner to bank manager. Now, Miriam matriculated in 1996. Her strongest subjects at school were accounting and business studies. Now, owing to financial constraints, she could not study further and was forced to accept a job as a cleaner in a clothing factory based in Cape Town. Now, further on, Miriam started working in January 97 and earned a time-related wage of R3 an hour. Now, her frustration soon led to her seeking employment elsewhere, and in 1998, she found a job as a cleaner in a local bank. And this is where doors opened for her. So very soon, her manager recognized her potential, and through the relevant CETA, she improved her skills and qualifications. Now, by March 2000, she was promoted to the position of a teller, and in 2003, she became a bank consultant, and today Miriam is a branch manager at a bank. So this story is basically telling us of how Miriam started off because of financial constraints. She couldn't go study where she wanted to, and she ended up working in a factory as a cleaner. Then she moved from being a factory worker, a cleaner in a factory, to cleaning in a bank. And from there, through CETAs, remember what are CETAs? It's a Sector Education and Training Authority. She improved her skill levels. And because she improved her skill levels, she could move up in the company and really improve herself and her career. Let's have a look at the questions. So the first question asks us, so from the case study, identify the reasons for Miriam becoming a cleaner after she matriculated. So if we go back to the case study, we'll see that it tells us that Miriam became a cleaner. Why? Because of financial constraints. So let's get that down. So that's financial constraints. The second question asks us, give a possible reason for Miriam's frustration in her first job. Now, the case study gives us a couple, so I'm going to give you guys 2 or 3. So why would Miriam be frustrated? First off, it would be that in her first job was that she only earned R3 an hour, which is very little. Another reason she was unhappy was that she was overqualified. Now, the reason I say she was overqualified is that they tell us that she has matriculated and that she has strong subjects who are business and accounting. So obviously, being a cleaner would probably involve not being a skilled laborer, for example. And because she has matriculated and she studied further, she will become frustrated and she will be overqualified for the job she's doing because she's not getting or she's not being challenged. So we look at the next question. The next question is, explain what is meant by a time-related wage. Now, a time-related wage is literally when you get paid according to the amount of hours you work. So time-related, if you work 7 hours a day, you get R10 an hour. Your time-related or outcome would be R70 for the day. So let's quickly get that down. So what is meant by time-related? It's earnings that are calculated according to the number of hours you worked. So earnings calculated according to hours worked or time worked. Let's rather go with time worked. Now the next question is a little bit longer. Let's have a look. Now explain what you understand by a vertical career path and a horizontal career path, utilizing examples from the case study to justify your explanation. So as I was explaining this earlier, remember I was telling you what is a vertical, what is a horizontal career path. But what's very important to your grade 12s, and you often forget to do this, the question is asking you specifically to relate it to the case study. So if you don't relate it to the case study, chances are that even if you tell me exactly what a vertical career path is, because it's not based on the case study, you might not get the marks for it. So let's quickly get the answers for that. So the first one, I'm just going to write a V for vertical. So what does a vertical career path in the case study in this case involve? So the vertical career path, remember, would be moving to a level above. So moving, so that you can remember, to the level above where you are. And literally vertical, so look at it as you are moving up. So in the case study, a vertical career path for her was, when she started off, remember, as a bank teller. Then she moved up and she became a bank consultant. And as the last part of this case study will tell us, her career now is as a bank manager. So it's quite clear that you can see in a vertical career path that Miriam is moving from the bottom up. So that would be vertical. Another, well, what I want to do with, we'll show you now what the horizontal career path in this case would have been. So I'm going to abbreviate this with an H. So Miriam's horizontal, and just to remind you again, so a horizontal career path, remember, will look at moving from one position to another. So you're literally not moving up, you're moving from one position to another. So that's an easy way to remember it like that. So in this case study, how was Miriam having a horizontal career move? So she was a cleaner in a factory, and when she moved to the bank, she was literally a cleaner in the bank. So that's horizontal. Can you see? So a cleaner in the factory to a cleaner in the bank. And you'll also see, I just want to show you grade 12s, that this question is worth 8. So where would you get the marks in this question? So first off, you'd get 2 marks for explaining what is a vertical career move, or what is a vertical career path, and you'll get 2 marks for explaining how Miriam moved. And in the same year, you will get 2 marks for explaining horizontal, and 2 marks for the example, and that will give you your 8. And those are actually 8 really easy marks to get. Let's go to the next question. The next question asks us to look at, list any 5 considerations. So list any 5 considerations that Miriam should have looked at for a career choice after she matriculated. Now these choices we've looked at before, so I'm just going to write down the keywords. Remember, the question is asking you list. Oh, so the question is list. So that's quite easy. Remember, list is simply telling you to give the points and you don't have to discuss it. So let's quickly list those 5 things that Miriam should have considered. Remember, our famous topic for the day, the financial implications. So that's the first thing she needed to keep in mind. So it's the financial implications. Another thing she would have had to keep in mind would be, what is the security implications for the job? A third one would be, Miriam would need to keep in mind if this would go with her religion or her religious beliefs. And we've got 3, so let's do 4. A fourth implication would be family. So how does her family feel about the job she's doing? And the last consideration she should have had, or could have had in this case, would be, does the given job go with her personal morals and values? So the question was, give 5 things that you should have looked at. And again, the question said list, guys, 10 marks. So with list, probably, if I see it's 10 marks, I probably would have done more than just write keywords. I would have explained it, but we did it earlier. So you are more than capable, grade 12s, of filling in the blank yourself. Or if you don't remember, if it's a little bit fuzzy, remember you can get the notes on the Learn Extra. Let's go to the next question. The next question asks us, give 2 reasons for people moving positions in their work situation. Now, this is really easy, grade 12s. You're not going to necessarily find this in the case study, but think about this logically. Why would you want to change your career? Firstly, it could be that you're unhappy and you literally just want a new job. But more than that, it will probably be for financial reasons. So you're going to move jobs or change jobs because you'll have or get more money. So that would be the first reason. So let's write this down. So the first reason you could change jobs would be for financial reasons. So that it will probably be so that you can improve the amount of money you make. Or you could also change jobs for the experience. Now, two ways you can look at this. If you're going for a horizontal career path, where you remember I told you the factory worker and you've been working or doing stuff with the machines for a few years, now you are fixing the machines. That's a horizontal career move. And why are you doing this? So that you can get more experience. If you're going for a vertical career path from bank teller to a consultant, that will probably be more motivated for finance because you'll make more money if you do that. The next question asks us, discuss any 3 aspects of career pathing. So any 3 aspects, I've chosen 3 for you. That's self-assessment. Well, let's write this down, it'll be easier. So 3 aspects to look at. So the first aspect would be self-assessment. Now, self-assessment would look at you literally looking at what are your strong and weak points. So in other words, with self-assessment, remember, you need to sit and look at yourself and go, what am I really good at? And maybe what am I not so good at? And helping you make a choice from there. A second aspect that you need to keep in mind would be preferences. Now, preferences, again, remember, preferences, what would you be more inclined to do? What is your passion? Remember earlier when we started from the break for your career? What is your passion? So what do you feel passionate about? So that would go with your preferences. And the last thing that could help, or aspects of career pathing, would be involving or having a role model or a mentor. A role model or a mentor. Now, with this, it could be if you really want to be a doctor and you're in grade 12 and you're going around, you went to different expos, etc. If you, by any chance, are lucky enough to meet a doctor, for example, this person can help you and guide you on your path to becoming a doctor through their experiences, through their times of study. And it's literally just having somebody that you can ask questions to. And it's sort of going to look up to them, but they're also going to help you. Let's go to the next question. Now, this question asks us, explain any 3 paths to follow when considering business careers. Now, with this section, any 3 paths to follow. So this could be grade 12s, a learnership, or getting the actual job. And the third one, I should quickly check, would be training. So what career paths can you follow? There are 3. Let's quickly write them down. So the first path you can follow when considering a business career, so the first one would be a learnership. Now, with a learnership, remember, it would be, we've done that and we've looked at learnerships in previous things. It would be where you're going and you're learning how to do the job while you're on the job. Makes sense, right? So you're learning how to do this. The second one would be training. So number 2 would be training. Now, with training would be the acquisition of skills and knowledge. So training, for example, would be when you go study. So you're getting the skills and the knowledge you need for that particular career. And the last career path you can follow would be actual employment. Now, with employment, could be employment from somebody else or self-employment. So you can be an entrepreneur and start your own business, or you can start off by working for somebody else. Now, this was a nice question, grade 12. It was a case study. Half the questions were out of the case study, which you could get, and other half of the questions were sort of something that you actually had to study or think about yourself. And I want to try and squeeze in one more question.
I have a question firstly on the last question there. What is the difference between a learnership and an internship?
A learnership and an internship. It's pretty much, I would say, at this stage, it's interchangeable. I wouldn't want to confuse you guys. If it's sort of the same thing. It's where you're learning on the job, I would say.
All right.
Fair.
Fair enough.
Okay, cool. Let's go to question 2. Question 2, we're looking at. I was nice. I didn't do more case studies. I know you guys aren't I know you guys don't like case studies, but they're also very important. So this question we're looking at different types of teams. Now, before we went for the first break, we briefly looked at them. So I'm going to go through them quite quickly, grade 12s. So let's have a look. The working teams, remember, working teams are permanent teams. I just want to make this nice and short for you guys so you can remember. So working teams are permanent. So let's make it fit in here. So they are permanent and permanent. Okay, I can't spell today, sorry about that. So they're permanent and they usually work in the same department. Nice and easy. Remember, grade 12s, if there's a question like this, don't write it as short as what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get the answers to you to as quickly as possible. Well, not quickly as possible, as short as possible, so it's easy to write down. The second type of team, remember, is a project team. Now, a project team is a temporary team. And remember, they focus mainly on trying to solve a particular problem, or trying to trying to finish a certain project. The third type is a cross-functional team. Now, a cross-functional team, grade 12s, would be, remember, used to implement change or to help with implementing change in a business. The fourth type of team, a problem-solving team. Remember, a problem-solving team would be including employees from the same department. So again, it's employees from the same department. And, so that just went over. Let me quickly erase that. So it's employees from the same department, and they meet on a regular basis to work out problems. And these, very important, grade 12s, these would usually be internal problems. Now, the last type of team would be virtual teams. And again, let the name give it a weight for you. Okay, so virtual teams. So these will be people that aren't necessarily in the same building. Could be different branches. You work in Cape Town. The other people you're working with on Durban, for example, and it's people working together. So the short of this would be, it's people in different locations, and they would usually work via the internet. Now, there's a question 3 that you mindsetters can get on the internet. I will post the answers for you for question 3 to help you out. And I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. It's been a great time learning a lot about teamwork and also choosing a career. And I believe that, as you said earlier on, that it is something that needs to be done in grade 9 when you're a grade 12 choosing a career. But you work on that as you go along, discovering your personalities also. Well, Team Mindset, I just want to say thank you very much for taking your time and tuning in as we learn a lot about careers. But I just want to ask this quick question. It just came to my mind.
Yes.
When choosing your career, did you find it difficult that you had to be in a society that is influential in terms of media? Did media contribute in your choice?
I have to say, again, and I'm glad you're asking this, for me it was passion. I've always been passionate about helping people, and teaching just made sense. So nothing else actually influenced me except my passion.
Because I believe that there are so many other environmental factors that contribute into us making choices. But otherwise, always choose the best one for you. Mindsetters, thank you very much for taking your time. I just want to leave you with this quote that says that great careers are being chosen through great education. So make sure that you learn a lot. And thank you to Macmillan for making it possible. We love you. Peace.